Michters limited release toasted barrel finish.
Woo!
Welcome back to Brolic Whiskey. I'm Metahuman Dave.
I'm not just Mike. I'm Lisett, aka Wonder Woman.
Mike's feeling a little under the weather, so we had to pull in an audible. We brought in Lisett, and I felt this is actually a perfect whiskey to have Lisett join in on because this whole distillery is basically run by women. So
cool.
it's really cool to see women getting involved in whiskey, especially because scientifically or biologically, women tend to have a better nose than men. So it's cool to see more women getting involved in the company. What are you staring at?
I like the nice dark color and the way it just sits around the rim, like when you're swishing it around.
All right.
That's pretty.
So this is made by head distiller Pamela Hellman. And I'm going to say that the color is coming from the fact that they use a number 3 charred barrel, which means that it's heavily charred. Here's something that I wanted to just start the video off with right away. I hear a lot of people automatically assuming that Michters is sourced whiskey. And while at one point that was true, especially with their older stuff like the 10-year-old and a 20-year-old, it was sourced. But this particular bottle came out of phase 2, if you will. Phase 2 was when Pamela actually started producing things herself. She just didn't have her own kitchen, right? Like, think of it like a chef. She was cooking, she just didn't have her own kitchen, so she would borrow someone else's kitchen. So she would actually use someone else's distillery to make the product, while still getting revenue before they actually were able to open their own distillery, which they're currently in phase 3. So that means we're probably not going to see anything coming out of that distillery for another little while. But this was produced by Michters, just not in their own distillery.
Got it.
Man, it smells beautiful now. Very vanilla rich. Vanillas and caramels.
We got a little bit of that with a touch of floral scents too.
This was donated, let me just say right away before I forget to thank you, sir. This came from the whiskey Padawan himself, Juan Lascano Jr.
Nice.
Hopefully I've said your last name properly. I've actually never asked you how to say your last name.
What up, Juan?
So he brought this out to the last whiskey meetup, so that's why there was some whiskey taken out of it.
Got it.
And I'll say, before I even get into this, I wasn't impressed right away.
Okay.
But it smells a lot nicer now, so maybe it just needed to open up a little bit.
So you weren't impressed with the smell or the taste?
Both.
Like, what was that? Like, it was too
boring
light for you? Yeah.
Boring.
I mean, it does feel kind of light. So it's a great beginner one, I think. It's very smooth. It doesn't give you that kick like most whiskeys do, so I don't get that burn.
Ooh, that is actually really nice.
Yeah. I can't really pinpoint the taste though, but it is a sweet, smooth flavor.
Well, it's not giving you the big burn because this isn't very high proof. It's 45.7%, which is 91.4 proof. But I will say it's definitely it opened up nice in the bottle. This is only not even a week old, like last Friday, so it's like 5 days old since we opened this up. And I gotta say that it smells and tastes different than I remembered on a Friday meetup.
Well, I mean,
so vanilla, caramel.
Yeah. I get those tastes. I didn't taste it in the beginning like you did, so I don't have anything to compare it to. But it does have that smooth taste to it. A very light caramel taste. No burn. It just warms the tongue ever so slightly, so it's good. It's not bad.
I know Mike wasn't here because he's sick. She's also feeling a little under the weather, but see if you can pick this up. I get a little bit towards the back end of the, like right now where you had it in your mouth a little bit. I'm starting to get cherry. But while she deciphers, I'm gonna let her actually take small sips and drink some more.
Yeah.
Let me nerd out with you guys before I even give my score. I'm going to talk about the barrel now. So, toasted barrel finish. Usually, whiskeys have a very heavy char, which is where most of the color comes from. But this was second finished in a toasted barrel, brand new barrel that was toasted, meaning that instead of the flame actually hitting the wood and burning it, it's away from the wood, so it's just kind of like pulling the oils out of the wood. So open flame for about 60 minutes in brand new white oak, and they decided to age it additionally for 26 days. They did trial and error. They felt 10 days wasn't enough. 30 days made it too woody. As I said, Pamela Haleman is the head distiller. Well, they also have a woman that leads the maturation, which her title is Master of Maturation.
That's cool.
That's Andrea Wilson.
Okay.
So this is totally run by women here.
We won the world.
Girls.
Girls who run the world. Girls.
What's your score on this?
I mean, it's a good taste to it, but it's still kind of mellow to me. So I mean, it's not bad. It's not great. So I'm gonna lean 6.7.
All right.
It's a doable one, but it doesn't really wham.
It's a little lower than I thought she would give, because I thought she was going to enjoy the fact that it is light and sweet, considering she doesn't tend to like the heavier stuff. I'm a little nicer.
Wow, he's being nice.
Yeah, I do like it. I'm not blown away by any means, but I'm actually going to go about 7.4. Like it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
It normally goes for I should say it retails for $60.
Not bad.
Unfortunately, the secondary market is screwing people over big
Yeah.
time on this one. I usually see people trying to get $200, sometimes even more for that.
Wow. Talk about profit.
You
Jeez.
people that are willing to pay secondary pricing, you're out of your minds. This is
crazy.
not worth $200 at all.
I mean, 60.
60 is a fair price.
It's a fair price, but 200. No.
No, definitely stay away from those secondary price gougers. It's not fair to the people who actually want to enjoy the whiskey as the distiller intended.
Yeah.
They did put it at a decent price point. $60 is not bad. Now, I will say this, I tried digging a little deeper to find out about mash bill and aging, because this is a no age statement, but if we read between the lines, it's a straight bourbon whiskey. So by law, that means it's aged minimum 2 years. The person I was dealing with from Michters, they wouldn't give me answers, and I understand they don't want to give up too many trade secrets, but since it's a no age statement, and I don't understand how this comes into play, he was saying that everything is at least 4 years old in there. Otherwise, if it wasn't at least 4 years old, they would have to say the age statement.
Okay.
So I never heard that before, but I guess that means that everything in here is at least 4 years old.
Got it.
They said they never disclosed the mash bill. If that's true, I don't know where all these other websites are coming from. I saw multiple websites showing that they did know the mash bill. So if this is correct, and he said he will not answer whether I was correct or not, the mash bill is 79% corn, 11% rye, and 10% barley.
Got it.
So with a little drop of water, what'd you get on the nose?
It still smells sweet. A little faint. I don't know because we're out in the open or because I'm, like he's mentioned, I'm still a little sick, so my nasals aren't that clear. But I do smell a little bit of sweet vanilla caramel. It's a very faint smell, but it's still good. It smells good.
It shortens the finish. It pulls out the vanillas a little bit more at first, but it dissipates pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then it almost goes into a little bit of like sharp edges. It becomes a little tingly.
On the tongue? Tip of the tongue?
Yeah. I would say avoid the water so far. I'll take another sip before I give a score.
It's not bad. There's some that like it really makes the flavor taste totally different.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't taste bad. It's just very mellow now.
Yeah, it didn't totally change the flavor profile, but it made the finish a lot thinner, made the mouth feel thinner, and it just on the back end when after I sipped, and about 5-10 seconds later, it kind of brings out some of the harsher, I don't know, sharp edges.
Yeah.
I don't know really how else to explain that one, but for me, that alone tells me avoid the water. I'm not a fan of
It
it.
kind of feels like you're just going through the experience of the little bit of burn and a little bit of kick. That's it, but you don't really taste the flavor. It's just like here's a little burn on the tip of your tongue, here's a little burn on your throat, and there, boom, it's gone. But I just feel the effect, but I don't really taste the flavor. So
She's actually standing on a brick.
I am.
She's short and skinny, but she's strong.
I'm short.
What's your score?
It doesn't taste bad. I don't want to be too mean. I'll go with 5.5.
All right, you're nicer than me. 4.3. The more I drank it, the less I enjoyed it with the water.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pull these off to the side just to move on to the next one. Lisette's going to grab the rocks glasses and the ice. Now, for those who actually care and want to know a little bit more about this, what I did dig up is that Michters puts it in the barrel at a low proof. So it enters the barrel at 103 proof. And then they obviously dilute it down to the 45.7, aka 91.4 proof, before distributing it to be bottled for us.
Thank you.
Now, I normally am not a fan of whiskeys on the rocks.
Uh-huh.
Caveat to that is, the first bourbon I ever had, I really, really did not like neat. I ended up liking it on the rocks.
Okay.
That bourbon was Bullet. So Bullet bourbon was the first bourbon that I ever had. Did not like it neat, but did like it on rocks. So I'm hoping that, unlike Scotch, this does well for me.
Let's see. Put it to the test.
You go for it.
Obviously, like, no smell at all right now.
Yeah.
So.
No point of even smelling. Unless you... I'm going to one day pick up a Canadian Glencairn glass. The Canadian Glencairn glasses are kind of like a rocks glass, but still tuliped. I'm going to pick a pair of those up in the future and see if that affects us. Since just a straight up rocks glass doesn't tulip, so you get no nose out of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Lisette, you got to talk.
I mean, really doesn't do anything for me. It's just cold. That's all it is right now. So, it kind of is just like the watered down version, but just colder. So it's just... I mean, I get
I don't agree.
I get a little bit of more of a sweeter taste.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't agree.
But it doesn't get that kick of whiskey anymore. So it's like...
But do you want a kick?
Sometimes I want a kick. Sometimes, I mean, it depends. If you want that kick, if you want that burn in your tongue and in your throat, then don't drink it this way. But if you don't mind it to be smooth like juice, then go for it. So this does taste like juice to me. So if I'm going to have it with dinner, yeah, I'll have it. But if I want that kick, if I'm laying on the couch, I want that burn, I would have it neat. But
Say what?
it's not bad. It just doesn't have that burn.
I'm married to this woman. I've never once heard her ever ask for a whiskey at dinner. I've never heard her say she wanted a whiskey with a kick, except the one time when our power went out and she wanted to pass out early.
I wanted to pass out early.
So,
Give me the strongest whiskey you got.
So I was really thinking that because this didn't have a kick, she was going to love this. But it sounds like she's going the opposite way. So,
Yeah.
married men, you know my struggle. You'll never figure out women.
No.
Once you think you know your wife,
10 years.
pull that 180.
It's not bad.
I thought she was going to like this because of the fact that it was going to be a little sweeter and a little mild.
It's good. It tastes like two
I will
different
say
whiskeys,
I
though.
like this exactly. That is a great point. It
Yeah.
doesn't taste like the same whiskey that we had neat and diluted.
Yeah.
Tastes like a different whiskey. I will say I like it a hell of a lot more than I liked it neat. I mean, with the
Diluted.
water.
Yeah.
I still prefer it neat, big time.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose between diluted or on rocks, absolutely going here. I'm going to jump the gun over Lisette. I like it enough to give it like a respectable 6.5.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go with the. I mean, it doesn't have that kick, but I'm not saying it tastes bad because it tastes really good. It's a very smooth, light flavor. Like I mentioned, it tastes like a totally different whiskey than when it's neat.
Absolutely.
So, on that note, I want to give it the same score that I actually gave it neat. So I think it was a 7.7. So it's two different variations. So like there's a high point kick and then there's the light, mellow, cool version. So
I-
it's two totally different things, and I like them both for their own different reasons.
I have a horrible memory, but I think she said 6.7.
6.7, somewhere around there.
7.7 and 6.7. That's a huge difference.
Whatever I gave it neat, I'm gonna give it the same score on the rocks because it's good and it's a different whiskey. So if I had my eyes closed, if I had a blindfold on, I would think that he gave me two different kinds.
Yeah.
And they each have their own specific likes that I was feeling.
I'll agree with her in the sense that it tastes like a different whiskey. It doesn't taste the same.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens once we start getting the releases that are from their own distillery. Because even if they use the same mash bill and did everything the same, it will still taste different out of their distillery
Got it.
versus the other distillery because everything counts. The shape of the stills, the location of the venue, like everything changes. So I'm excited to see what happens under their own distillery. But let's just move on to user comments before we get to the
Nice.
outro.
I like these.
User comment. Let's go. This comment was on the top 10 Christmas gifts.
Nice. Okay.
This comes from Brolic Whiskey.
Comment on yourself.
Yes, I was saying I was totally disappointed that not a single person made reference to your cactus Christmas tree.
Oh yeah.
Not a single person
guys.
pointed that out.
By the
I
way,
thought I was going to get a bunch of comments
I
on that.
got that cactus cutting from this guy right here. So I cut a piece from that and then I decorated it and put it in my living room. So
And why? Because I have a giant dog in a big kennel right in front of where she would normally have her Christmas
gotta
tree.
make do. So I think it looks cool.
That's it for now. Lisett, you got an outro for this lady-led whiskey that we just reviewed?
Let's see.
Put her
Well-
on the spot.
Put me on the spot. Well, you men wouldn't be anything without women, so drink your whiskey and then come back for the next video in honor of Mike Chopsticks.
Hitting you guys up with a little bonus. So you guys saw, we do everything always in one single take, no script other than my little notes on the distillery. In the short amount of time from us talking about the rocks glass, just letting our glasses sit off to the side, this became so sweet.
Yeah, I finished
That's-
mine already.
Both of us said that it smelled a lot sweeter on the nose and on the taste, way better. So let's just throw a second score at it. What is your second score after letting it sit for, what is that, 5, maybe 10 minutes
Yeah.
tops?
First off, I can't remember what my score is, but just let's pretend I just drank this for the first time. From the smell and taste alone, 7.8.
Wow, so that was she actually liked it more
Yeah.
neat after resting for 10
Yeah.
minutes than she liked any other way. I'm close to her. I'm actually really close on that score. 7.7? I mean, it's so close.
So close.
It's really nice. So there you go. You saw that when we tasted it originally, it was tasted right after pouring.
Yeah.
Let it sit in your glass. It opens up. It's beautiful
Yeah.
after sitting. Now we gotta try it neat.
Patience is a virtue, so it does make the taste way better. So
I don't know what patience means. I'm gonna try it neat. I'm gonna pour a little bit neat right now, and this is not going on camera, so I'll leave it in the comments section. I'll let you know what I think 10 minutes later.
check the comments.
Check the comments, subscribe to the channel, and all that blah blah blah.
Don't forget to hit that bell button so you know every time he uploads a video, and then check the comments to see what his thoughts are. Chopsticks again.